Good evening, good evening, good evening.
Boom.
Sorry we are a bit late. Just as we were about to start, somebody's internet connection dropped out. And yeah.
Great new internet just
blind
went,
panic.
I was like, no! just this is like the first test of it. And it's rubbish.
Yeah.
That's not really as good, but how you doing, bud?
Not too bad, how are you?
I'm alright. Sorry for my absence last week.
No, it's fine, it was noted.
Yeah.
I think I'm the only one with 100% attendance rate at the moment, so I'm going to get a gold star at the end of the year.
Gold star, yes. Bag of sweets from teacher.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Hi, Rage. Hi, Reese. Rage has asked if we've got a new intro. We do. We actually used it last week.
Yeah.
So thanks well done for everyone paying attention.
Appreciate it, mate. Yeah. It's all for you.
Yeah. That was produced by our friends over at CloudCam UAV, if anyone's interested.
Lovely job.
It happens to be my brother as well. He put that together. So thank you very much. Hi, Reese. Keep forgetting to ask if you want to video. Right. Keep forgetting to ask if you want to do the video of us. Yes, I do have that, Reese. Yeah, send it over to me. If you send it, I'll tell you what, if you can ping it over to me at nofochat@hotmail.com. Email in the description below.
Wallop, have some of that.
So we can whack that up onto the on the Facebook group. Yeah, definitely.
Is that what you two running the gauntlet up past Stockade?
Yeah, so
I remember that video.
It was around October last year, back sort of between lockdown 1 and 2, before we were in lockdown 48 or wherever.
I had to go because once again I was working and I had to leave early, and that's when you got everyone killed, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was the same event, wasn't it?
I didn't know. Hang on. I didn't get everyone killed. It's just my gun crapped out, and then poor leadership because someone left me in charge. It's like, right, you go and defend that, and then I'll come back in a bit. And by the time I got there, they're all dead. But no, so Apocalypse Airsoft run a gauntlet. If it's your birthday, you don't have to do it, but I figured it'll be fun. I'm never doing it again. It's basically you stand in front of a load of people and they shoot you while you run away from them. I ended up with quite a lot of welts.
Ooh, ointment, plenty of ointment applied in the evening, sir.
Yeah, I just got in the bath. It was just it was horrible.
Well, I'm out in the forest. I'm coming to you live from a forest this evening.
Yes.
It's a bit chilly.
Hi, Sean. Thanks for joining.
Evening,
Hi,
Sean.
Wayne.
How are we doing? Yeah, you may
I
have
apologise. I know I spent the first
fence.
5 minutes. I spent the first 5 minutes just saying hello to everyone, and then after that, I ignore you. So apologies.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, the other dynamic duo aren't with us tonight. Unfortunately, they've got family things and that going on, so all busy times for the other Mike and Paul. So wish them well, and we'll see them again soon. I'm back on the show. Hopefully, it won't be too long. So I'll get to talk to another two guys. As opposed to him all the time. But there we go. Every cloud and all that. I was just, I'm in the woods, all right? I'm disorientated.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to get in touch, just a reminder that you can nofochat@hotmail.com. Instagram is November_Foxtrot_Nofo. Facebook is November Foxtrot Nofo, and YouTube is our November Foxtrot. So feel free to drop us a message on there or in the comments section below if you want to get involved.
All very easy to remember, guys. Everyone should know them all by now. Very easy to remember.
Ben. Thanks for joining. So tonight we are talking sleep systems.
Yes.
So, I mean, why is it important? Why is it important, Lance? Why is a good sleep system important? Just as he starts having a drink.
On and on it goes. Double entendres. Well, I mean, the minimal time that you're going to get your head down MilSim for, I mean, depending on how hardcore it is, if you like, then you're going to need be able to get that precious bit of amount of sleep. You're going to have to you need to be comfortable. If you can. I mean, obviously there might be some events that you go to where sleep's just not on the cards, and you're going to just have to suck it up and try and get 20 minutes here and there, sort of a cat nap, as and when you can. But if you're in a position where you're in a fixed fob, you're not going to have the risk of being bumped in the night and have to bug out and break down your basher and try and bag it up as best you can and leg it. Then you can afford a couple more luxuries perhaps. But on the whole, if you can, as soon as you allocated your sleep rotation, like your 2 or 3 hours, whatever it is, it's crucial that you do use that time to get some sleep down. Do you know what I mean? No, either just before you hit the hay, a hot drink at least, at the very minimum, a hot drink, or even if you can get a hot meal down before you get in your DOS bag, it helps you that much more just to get that couple of hours kip if you can get it. But yeah, sleep if you can is is a crucial. Not essential, but if you can get it, then yeah, it makes you feel a lot better for it. Trust me.
Yeah. I know one of the first MilSims I did, I fell asleep next to a badger pit. Genuinely think I got woken up by a badger in the middle of the night. So firstly, situation of where you sleep is important. Just remember that. But we are we are obviously talking sleep systems tonight. So this is all things sleeping bags, whoobies, blankets, pillows, and like. So yeah, let's jump in. Do you want to take this one, Hans?
I can do, mate. Yeah. So I mean, I've got a sort of a bit of a selection there. In front of people who've been listening back, I'm going to try and explain it as best I can because I'm conscious of just using slides on the show. I can reference it by seeing it, but for you guys listening who aren't exactly watching it, it's quite difficult to understand what I'm talking about. So I've got a few different types of sleeping bag. I've got a standard British Army medium weight sleeping bag. I've got a British Army Arctic sleeping bag. I've got a British Army bivvy bag. So that's like my surplus kit, which I've got. And on top of that, I've also got a Snug Pack Base Camp Extreme 3-season bag, or 4-season bag, sorry. And also to coincide with that, to make up my own sort of version of the British Army sleep system, if you like, the modular system, I've got the Snug Pack jungle sleeping bag, which I can use to go inside the Snug Pack Base Camp Extreme to make a better insulated bag. But that's sort of like, they're my sort of go-to bags. I mean, obviously the Snug Pack has sort of replaced the British Army medium bag, whereas obviously the Arctic bag is the Arctic bag for the proper cold snaps that we tend to get, you know, obviously through the winter months over here. And obviously if we could have attended a MilSim over the winter, which is not looking likely at the moment, then obviously that's the one I would have gone to. And that will coincide with using the bivvy bag, or if I'm obviously inside hard cover under a shelter, it might not be necessary to have the bivvy bag, but it still does keep the draft for you and that. So it comes along with me regardless. It's just it's a nice waterproof covering for any sort of DOS bag you've got. So it's no drama taking that along with me. But that's all like my selection of bags that I've got. And like I said, 90% of the time it'll be the Snug Pack Base Camp Extreme. That's the bag I'll go to, and that's sort of replace the British Army medium weight. Still absolutely nothing wrong with it. They're very similar bags, but my one's just getting a little bit old now, and sort of upgraded it and got this one. You know, insulation wise, I probably couldn't tell much of a difference between the two bags, if I'm honest with you. But it's the Snug Pack certainly does feel more comfortable. It feels a lot more luxurious laying in it, I must admit, than the British Army one. But a surplus bag, guys, if your budget allows, then you can get. I'll be honest with you, the Snug Pack. I'm trying to think what I paid for it now. I thought it was going to blow my mind with the price, but I think it was about 50 quid for that Snug Pack base camp bag, and it's really good. It's a cracking little bag as well. Yeah, really good. And obviously, if you do the extra cold snap, then you've got the jungle bag. You've got the best of both worlds. You can chuck that down there inside it, and you've got an internal liner, which is the jungle bag inside the bigger one as well. So, yeah, that's primarily my
one. Size comparison between the few, because obviously the bigger the sleeping bag, I say bigger. Usually it's usually the increase of season, isn't it? Because you've obviously got more padding and insulation and stuff. Yeah,
if it's like downfield and all the extra layers of insulation that you've got going for like a 4-season or a 5-season. Obviously technology's come a long way now. So whereas you've got an older bag like the big green bouncing bomb, like the old 58 pattern Arctic bag, that's a monster. That's a big old bit of kit. Whereas that Arctic bag there, it's not a great deal bigger than a standard British Army medium bag or the Snug Pack bag. It is bigger, and you can feel it's a bit bigger. Obviously, it's going to be because it's an Arctic bag, but it's not like, oh my God, I'm never going to fit this. I can quite comfortably fit that inside my Bergen with the bivvy bag over it and get a bit more kit, like a couple of warm layers over the top of that, and still get all the lid shut nice, not stretching it or pushing it down too hard. Comfortably fits inside a Bergen with all your other bits and bobs. Yeah, no worries at all. Going back though, obviously the older Arctic bag is a lot bigger, and you know, hence the bouncing bomb sort of thing, the nickname for it. So, but with the medium weight British bag and the Snug Pack Base Camp Extreme, very little difference in size. If I had to say, I'd probably say the Snug Pack probably compacts down a little bit more than what the surplus bag does, but nothing to jump up and down about. You know, they both take up literally the same room. Maybe the Snug Pack takes a little bit less room, but I mean, I never compress my bags any other. They're just stuffed into the bottom of my Bergen, just to spread them out, and it packs better, I find, rather than trying to get a cylinder in a square and just like leaving them air gaps around it. You can just smash it all down to the bottom of the Bergen, and you've got that layer there to pack more stuff on top of it. So,
fun fact about sleeping bag care, I can't remember if you might have told me this or found out recently. You should never store your sleeping bag compacted down into all into the stuff sack and stuff, it's best to kind of leave them hung up in a wardrobe or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'll do that with mine. I'd leave them always hanging up, either in the rafts in my loft or in an airing cupboard or something. Just fluff them out when you get back. Don't leave them in the compression sack. I mean, obviously, the night before you go in, pack all your kit up and you do it then. But I mean, like I said, I never use compression sacks anyhow. I've got like a bag of like 9 of them up here from old bags and that I've just got to get the new sleeping bag. Compression sack goes that way. Sleeping bag goes in the burger. Yeah, that's it. But yeah, it crushes down the insulation, the fibres within the bag. If they stay compressed for long, when you do come to get it out, they tend not to expand as much. Whereas if you keep it fluffed up and keep them expanded, when they are compressed, they come back quicker. So they'll open up quicker and fluff the bag out quicker. If you can keep it open.
So you need to make sure you fluff your sleeping bag.
Fluff your bag regularly.
Wayne asks, how small does that jungle bag go down to?
That jungle bag, I'll tell you what.
I was going to say, you've probably got it just there, don't you?
I have got it behind my green screen, but I don't want to be fanny about it. But this is a pillow, and the jungle bag is probably the same size, if not a touch smaller than that. So I don't know if you can see for comparison. 2 hands. What are you saying? 10 inches, 10, 11 inches long? Yeah. So it's a nice small. I mean, you could probably at a push. Oh no, I don't think you would get into a utility pouch or possibly a water bottle pouch, Molly water bottle pouch, perhaps. But yeah, the jungle pack is the sleeping bag. It is very small, Wayne. Sorry. Yeah, it does compact down. I'd say a good like 10, 11 inches. You know, you'd easily get 2 or 3 in a rocket pouch if that helps. 2 or 3 jungle bags in a rocket pouch. I reckon you get them in there. So yeah, it does compact down small, and it's easy to pack away as well. That snug pack one, it's almost like the compression sack's a little bit oversized. So when you roll it up, it's just easy. You're not like trying to get your fingers around the edges and compact it in there to get the bag done up. You can just whack it in. You have to do a little bit of rolling up and care for it, but you get something like when you buy a new tent, and it comes out the bag, but when you pack it away and you go put it back in there, you're like, nah.
That's it. That's never going back.
That's never going back in there. Right, sling that. Give me some bungee cords out. There we go.
Well, we'll be talking about this later, but the Snug Pack also do a jungle blanket, which I believe is probably the same material as the jungle bag. But presumably, if they're roughly the same size, then you could get 2 of those. So you could probably get the jungle bag and the jungle blanket in a rocket pouch. Ragefile asks, doesn't the Snug Pack have -7 comfortable and -12 extreme temperature range? So got to ask why you would need anything else in the UK. Decent mat and bivvy, and that's you sorted for the UK. It
does, but I'll tell you what it is, mate, and it's a bit of a comfort thing for me, is I like to use I like the feeling of a heavier sleeping bag when it's proper cold. I don't know if it probably makes no difference insulation wise. I know obviously the base camp extreme does go down to -12. It's maximum when the comfort's up at -7. But I just like the feeling of a heavier Arctic bag. I don't know what it is. You can just sort of snuggle down to it. But whereas the extreme base camp bag, it's a little bit thinner material, so it doesn't. I don't know. Maybe it's placebo. It just doesn't feel like it should be warm enough, although it probably is. And I've used it fishing.
The comfort range is obviously not going to be the same for everybody. So some people prefer to be
exactly
warmer, and some people prefer to be cooler. I generally run quite hot because of all the insulation I've got. So I'm just out there with a carrier bag, but it's probably -12 is extreme, but
that's
we're
pushing
also
it,
airsofters and not the SAS. So
the worst I've gone down to was -6, and that was at Apocalypse when we woke up to snow, and it was -6 then. And to be honest with you, then I only had the British Army medium bag then, but then again I did have my softy suit on, so I had the softy jacket and trousers on inside the bag, so I was proper toasty. The only thing I did get a bit of a chill on was my feet, because I didn't put my winter socks on over the top at night, which is my fault. But you learn from your mistakes. So, but yeah, Rage, sorry, mate. Yeah, I completely get what you're saying. On paper, you don't really need to have an Arctic bag if you've got that type of bag which goes down to those temperatures. It's just a personal thing for me. I just prefer to use the Arctic bag because it's that little bit thicker and it's that little bit denser around your body when you're all snuggled up in it, the big green maggot. It just feels more comfortable for me than the base camp one. That's more like a hammock bag, if you like. Do you know what I mean? And that, again, sleeping in a hammock is just like luxury. It's amazing. So yeah, but I totally get what you're saying there, mate.
Wayne asks, that's okay, hope to fit it in a webbing bag. I mean, there are definitely season 2 sleeping bags that you can get. They might not be ex-military or anything like that. I mean, Mountain Warehouse, not a sponsor. But I know they do a season 2. I bought one when I went wild camping on Dartmoor, and I had that with a whoopee, and that was plenty comfortable.
Yep.
So yeah.
So what about you, Mike? What's your sort of go-to DOS bag, if you like?
I generally tend to use a Snug Pack Season 4 for most events, just because whilst having just said I run hot, and I do like a bit of comfort at night, and I would far rather have the capability of keeping warm if I need to, and then just sticking a leg out the bottom of the bag in case I'm too hot. Now that being said, that's possibly a little bit. What goes on MilSim stays on MilSim. Yeah. But that being said, to be fair, that's usually for static situations and when we're not lugging loads of stuff about all the time, because obviously you don't really want to carry a massive sleeping bag if you don't need to. But yeah, generally tend to run that, or in the summer, say I've got my season 2 and a couple of woobies. And they're I mean, a whoopee is the equivalent of a sleeping bag anyway, almost the sort of season 2. So you get into that and then into a season 2, you're probably looking sort of 3 low 4s anyway.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
I mean, the main thing as well, and this falls more into the actual shelter system, because we will be covering that. But with so I generally tend to use a hammock when we go to APOC. The first few times I've slept there, it's very stony ground. So with the hammock, obviously, takes you off the ground. You've got a nice, comfortable base that you're sleeping on. You get a much better night's sleep. But because you lose the insulation underneath you, it does mean that you actually lose a lot of sort of thermal. So I've actually invested in a hammock. What's it called? Like a hammock blanket. So it's almost like another hammock that hangs beneath it, that's made out of sleeping bag material.
Yeah, so called an under blanket or an under wrap or something.
Under blanket, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you kind of just thread that sort of around your hammock, and then when you're sitting in there, it's just lovely and toasty. So I mean, this is one of the problems I have with MilSims, in that it is quite hard to get up in the morning because it's freezing cold, nice and toasty. Definitely. You can just gently swing yourself side to side, listening to the rain patter down on the basher.
Yes, I don't want to get out.
And I've got Lance shouting at me, I've got to get up.
Stand to! Mike! Like, no! Dude,
someone threw a Mark 5 at me to wake me up last time. That was fun.
I don't know who that was.
Yeah. Ben Lewis Sanders says, as hard as it is, you should refrain from wearing warm kit in your DOS bag, as you don't reap the benefits from coming out of it if the weather is cold. Just speaking from experience. Yeah, I mean, that's a major point. I know one of the events we did at Longmoor, we were in that freezing cold house in the SAS base. Do you remember? And it was horrible. It was so cold, but that was the point. You have to take as much off as you reasonably can to get in the sleeping bag, because otherwise you're just insulating your body heat from the sleeping bag, and you don't warm up as quickly. That's the trouble I had with that. When we woke up with the snow on the ground, the trouble I had was that my sleeping mat that I had wasn't basically, I was losing all my heat straight into the ground. It wasn't reflecting any heat back at me. So I sort of got in my DOS bag thinking I was quite toasty, and I actually started to cool down and actually started to lose heat, which I was sort of like, I'm a little bit worried now. So hence the softy suit come on. So I chucked that on and then got back in the DOS bag. And then over the period of time throughout the evening, because I had my bivy bag and then putting my roll mat inside my bivy bag with me, throughout the course of like the next couple of hours I had some sleep, I was able to just like unzip the jacket and then eventually lose the jacket, because I've actually built up enough heat in the bag. I mean, the peephole was like that. So I was like, there's no heat escape in this bit. And eventually I was actually toasty, so I could actually remove the layers and unzip the leg a bit and, feel the benefit of actually being in the bag. But at the time I was just like, well, I'm really cold, need to get warm. So I've done myself a brew, chucked the softy on, back in the bag. I was like, yeah, this is right now, this works. But yeah, there's lack of experience at that point. That was probably only my second or third event perhaps. When they're, especially in the snow as well, especially in them temperatures. I've never been sort of really be out in them sort of temperatures before, and it's been bad. That was bad. Worked in it, but never actually spent a night out in it just to try and sleep. When it's cold as well, and you've got, I mean, with a basher system, generally you've got your face more exposed than say a tent. Highly recommend a balaclava, sort of the 3-hole balaclavas like Thinsulate do one, because that just keeps obviously your face warm. personally, I find it quite claustrophobic to kind of bring everything really kind of around my face, whereas the balaclava just means you can breathe normally and everything like that. So that works quite well. Rage also asked, mounted warehouse and Black's in-house brand make good, well-priced sleeping bags. Yep, can attest to that.
Shout, mate.
James C says, one warning when buying sleeping bags is the rating is not always accurate, and some people's definition of comfortable is very different from mine. Yeah, completely agree. That's what we were saying earlier about comfort rating.
Definitely with that one.
And Kit Nicholson. Hi, Kit. What's the temp rating for the British medium weight DOS bag?
I couldn't tell you, mate. Honestly, couldn't tell you. I mean, I've used it, and I'm talking for me. I'm not the smallest guy in the world, and I've used it in, I'd say, to about 0. I haven't gone below that, and I don't think I've been to an event since the snow one, where it has dipped below that much. And I've found it to be relatively comfortable. I certainly haven't woke up like freezing my ass off or anything in it. So I'm not going to, don't quote me on it saying it will go minus or anything like that. But I'd say it's fine to use that British medium sleeping bag. I'd say I'd be happy to use that from sort of like through the April all the way up through to about October time. I think that's it. It's a good spring, summer, start of autumn bag, and it will keep you nice and warm. And then obviously you're going to be looking into changing into getting like a slightly colder weather bag. But yeah, someone out there may well know what the temperature rating is for it. There certainly isn't nothing on the label. If you can find it, yeah. I mean, I've looked at all my labelling on my bags really clear, and it doesn't say anything about a rating on it, unless that label's come off. So
the medium weight British Army issue. I mean, I'm assuming it's the same one. So I'm currently on surplusandoutdoors.com. Again, not a sponsor. They reckon that it is. I've lost it now. It's 3 season, so down to about minus 15 on its own.
Really? Oh, I don't know if I'd take that at minus 15, but that's me. So again, more like I can't remember who it was now. James C saying about how people's comfort ratings differ from each other. So yeah, I mean, I certainly wouldn't be comfortable about taking that down to minus 15. No way, not that me. Unless my insulation's perished over time, it could well have done. You know, it's an oldish bag now, so that may be the problem with it. But yeah, I'd certainly spring through to the autumn time. I'd certainly be happy using it.
Wayne says, you want cold, try sleeping in a HMP cell. The woods are so much warmer than low places. Yeah.
Well, that's it. Don't break the law.
I wouldn't know for that. Rachel just says they're modular, so you have another bag you put in it for winter. But if I remember correctly, they're like a 3-season bag, so down to around minus 2.
Yeah,
apparently a full season is minus 15. Yeah, I was just reading off straight off a website.
I mean, that medium bag, that's not the new medium. I know the new sleep system, the modular system, whether it was previously, I don't know, but I know obviously the British Army one now. There's like an Arctic bag. You get a medium bag, which is similar to that. You get a jungle bag, which then goes inside the medium to make the 4 season, and then obviously you got the Arctic bag separate. There's also 2. You get the foam roll mat, which goes outside the bivvy bag. The bivvy bag itself, then there's a self-inflating mattress, which goes inside. It's like a big modular system to the British Army sleep system now. Stumbled across a couple of videos, which looks cool, where you can chop and change, mix things up. There's one actual thing which I didn't mention. I don't think I put a picture of it there. It's an Arctic sleeping bag liner, cotton liner. I don't know if anyone's ever come across one of them before. But they're mega handy, actually. They're not, I wouldn't say they're waterproof as such, but for example, say you haven't got a great deal of time, or there's a chance you're going to get hit or bumped, and you want to just grab some sleep in your DOS bag, you can just leave with your boots on, just jump inside that liner, inside your bivvy bag, and it stops all the crap off your boots getting in there, even that, or a couple of sandbags on the end of them. But to add that extra bit of insulation, if you wanted to, they're very cheap as well. I've seen them on eBay for sort of £6-7 brand new, and it's a British Army Arctic sleeping bag liner, cotton liner. And I think they do come in different sizes, so you have to be mindful of the size you get, whether you get the medium or large or whatever it is. But yeah, again, it's a very thin sheet. It's a nice feeling material as well, nice cotton material. And again, condenses down really, really small. And it's that extra bit of material, because you can, sleeping bag as comfortable as they are, sometimes that material can feel like a bit clammy against your skin, perhaps sometimes. So having that sort of sheet material, it can add for a better night's sleep. I think so. Yeah, something to bear in mind there, chaps. Another layer.
And it's also quite small. If you just need something to just jump into quick or whatever, just to...
Definitely, mate. Yeah, it's tiny. It condenses down so small. It's made enough. It's literally essentially like a OD green bed sheet, which has been stitched into a sleeping bag-esque type shape with a little bit of Velcro at the top here, just to sort of pull it around you.
Probably make one yourself. Get all entrepreneurial.
Probably could do.
Hi, Marcus. Thanks for joining.
Evening, Chief. Nice to hear from you.
Right, so I think we've done sleeping bags. If anyone else has any questions, just bug them in the chat. I'll try and make a note of them, and then we can always come back later on. We're now talking sleeping mats. So, I'll just start with mine. So, again, I generally tend to use a hammock rather than a sort of on-the-ground basher. I do have I think it's a Quetcher sleeping mat. Again, it's from sort of wild camping, probably more than MilSims. But it's a 2/3 body one. So the idea is that it compacts a lot smaller, but it's sort of semi-inflatable. So it's just enough. It doesn't cover your legs or anything like that, but it's just enough to obviously give you enough sort of comfort with your actual sort of upper body. But this is Lance's slide, so I'll let Lance cover because Lance clearly has a variety of different sleeping mat options.
It's all very basic. I mean, that there in the middle, the DPM is a Combat UK Z mat. If you like, it is what it is. Material with a foam inside it, which concertinas down into a single rectangle and sort of I call it a xylophone. He sort of opens up into a sleep mat. And what I've done there is it was started to go a little bit at the edges. So essentially, what I've done is I've cut it down so it's 5 panels long, which will basically give you head to just below your waist, sort of upper thigh sort of area of a sleep mat. So it will condense down a lot smaller than a full body length one. So you basically keeps the essentials off the ground, keeps them insulated. Your legs can take care of themselves, but keeping that core temperature, your head, and obviously down to your lower waist. So that section there, keeping that insulated from the ground. Your legs ain't gonna worry about them too much. And obviously it gives you, if you're having to pack small, pack light, there's an option right there. Again, for ground sleeping or hard surfaces, concrete floors, cold floors, I've never had any problems with that, sleeping on that. Obviously, it's greatest in the world, but again, you're out sleeping in the middle of a wood for a couple of nights. How great is it going to be, regardless of what you've got? Do you know what I mean? And you've obviously got to think about what you're going to pack. I mean, it's all well and good having all these luxuries, but you've got to sort of some way, in a sensible kind of way, get them to this location that you're going to be setting up at. So it's something to bear in mind, that you don't want to be taking sort of bags and bags and bags just purely with a massive, great big bed in it. You've got to be sort of smart about it, and that's worked for me fine. I then got a self-inflating mattress there. I mean, that has got a burster. That has got a hole in it now. But I've used that to death. And I'll be honest with you, I bought that in Argos for 30 quid. And that lasted me for Christ knows how many MilSims I used that on hard floor, inside my bivy bag. Just, absolutely solid. I think it went to 3.5 centimetres when it's fully inflated.
Is that the camo one or is that the green one?
That's the left-hand side with the straps around it, mate. So that's the self-inflating one. Yeah, it's about 30 quid, something like that. Just on Argos online, I picked it up, and I lost my train of thought there now. Yeah, so the good thing about I was just like, whoa. The good thing about the self-inflating mattress, obviously, it comes with an internal foam liner as it is. So what you've got there is, rather than it being just a air, like on the right-hand side there, you can see the valve open. That is an inflatable mattress, so it's reliant on air to keep it filled and keep it comfortable for you. So as soon as you get a hole in that, then that's out the window. You might as well sling it or use it as a waterproof cover for something, because it won't be a mattress anymore. Whereas with the self-inflating, it's already got the foam inside it. If it was to burst the outer material and lose a bit of air out of it, you're still going to retain that bit of bounce and insulation from the foam that's already inside the mattress anyhow. So you have got a backup. It's still usable, even if it does have a hole in it or whatever. I mean, the valve's there for you to add a bit more air into it if you want it to be stiffer, but essentially you could leave the valve off for 5-10 minutes, give it a shake out, do the valve up, and it is what it is. If it does get a hole in it, you're still going to have the thickness of that foam in there. It's still going to be a mattress, essentially. So they're a good bit of kit. Again, they're bigger. It depends how you want to pack, guys. If you want to keep it streamlined, not as bulky and things like that. But anyone can strap it to the outside of a bag. I mean, not a fan of that, but essentially it's going to be one of the first things you chuck off your bag when you get to your fob or your harbour area. Or if you're in a hard building, you're not going to really have to worry about packing that into a Bergen or anything, because you're going to be, majority of the time, taking your kit straight to that building anyhow and dumping your gear off and then patrolling out from there. So when it comes to them sorts of events, sort of packing and being methodical with your what you're taking, you can sort of relax a bit and afford a few more luxuries, if you follow me.
Something I have tended to use is a sort of same vein as the camouflage sort of fold up ground mat you got there, is a little Highlander. Mine's an OD green. It's almost like a sitting mat. It's the same sort of thing as little sort of folded panels of of stuff. Highly recommend getting a little sitting mat because there's nothing nicer than just having a little bit of comfort if you're just sitting on the ground. Concrete buildings, sangers, just if you're out and about and you're just holding a building, you just got it in a day sack or something like that, you just whack it out. And then, I've used that to sleep on. If you're just trying to get sort of like half hour's kip, just sitting in a building waiting for something else to happen.
You will feel the difference. You'll notice it from laying on a cold, hard floor to just having that little bit of insulation, that little bit of matting, just to keep retain that little bit of heat. If you're trying to get your head down for 20 minutes, half hour, then massive help, huge help. And like you say, you can use it as a kneeling pad. They condense down nice and small, a seating mat. I've just turned up, and unfortunately, it turned up after I'd done the slide. So, was the German infantry fold-out mat, which is sort of like a slightly bigger grid. I'd say the width of it, when it's condensed down into its packable size, would be about the width of the back spine of a Bergen, and probably about half as deep. So it just slide into your back of your Bergen perfect. You still get all your DOS bag and that in there. And then when you unfold it, take it out and fold it, it just folds out into squares, like grids out, and it looks great. I've heard a lot of good reports about it. There's a lot of guys serving now use it, and they say, it gets the job done. So we thought, sort on eBay for, I think it's $12.99 or something like that. So I thought, I've always wanted one. And then one came up, so I thought, give it a go. And looks quite happy with it, actually, to be fair. Like you say, it's a nice seating mat when it's packed down, all folded up. It's a good, I'll probably say, good 3 inches or maybe 2.5, 3 inches deep. So it's going to be a good insulated kneeling pad or seating pad. So I'll be interested to try that one if and when we can get back out in the woods and take part in an event one day, hopefully.
Yeah. So, ground mats, sleeping mats, definitely highly recommend getting some layer of protection just between you and your sleeping bag. There's nothing worse than an uncomfortable night's sleep, and there is nothing that's going to ruin your sleep more than the cold, basically. And if you can just do any little effort just to try and retain a little bit more heat, then it's going to do good solid. One thing we haven't actually covered within this is kind of cot beds. Cot beds are kind of the same thing. I know I don't think I actually got some slides for this put together, but cot beds. I've got a little. I know you've got a ex MOD one, I believe, Lance.
No, do you know what? My cot bed, which I've actually got. Do you know what? I can pick now. It's something I can read.
Oh, is it your fishing one?
No, it's not even a fishing one, mate. I picked this little bad boy up. This one here, in Aldi of all places. And you know what? It's bloody brilliant. And it was about 20 quid, I think, or something. When in the mysterious middle aisle, found myself wandering down there one day with a scuba tank and a horse blanket, and then I thought, there's a camp bed. I want one of them as well. Woo! I've got the 3 things I come out to get. And do you know what? It's a great little bit of kit. It's so easy to but it's it comes with a little carry bag. Fold it out. It's got 3 pairs of legs, if you like, so 6 legs in total. It all just concertinas out, folds flat, and then it's sort of sprung loaded, so it springs into action. It's nice and straight. Little storage pouch on the side for your phone or a charger or your vape or whatever it is, just to keep your small bits and bobs in there. It's a flat camp bed. It is what it is, and it's been absolutely fine. I'm about 15.5, 16 stone, and it takes my weight all day long. So great bit of kit.
They're quite useful if you've got a static position.
Like the Longmores.
We've used ours in Octo, Longmore. Sort of various places like that. If you got the opportunity to use it, again, it just keeps you off the ground a little bit, gives you a bit more comfort. And again, having a good night's sleep, or say good night's sleep, having as much quality sleep as you can get is going to just make your day a bit better the next day.
Exactly. And obviously with the cot bed as well, you've got where you're off the ground that much. If you are in a building, you slide all your gear under the bed, and it keeps it adds that protective layer of insulation between the cold air coming up from the ground. It's going to have to penetrate your Bergen or your gun bag or whatever it is you've got under your bed before it gets to you. So it's having that, it's filling up that void, even if you're out on the ground. You know what I mean? Even like using, if you've got a roll mat, there's nothing. If you're in a pine forest or Scotch pine, there's nothing wrong with you putting chucking some spruce boughs down on top of the roll mat on top of that. It's that added bit of insulation between you and the ground. That's the main thing. So and for storage as well. If there's 8 of you in a little bunkhouse or in a billet or something, then you've got they are good. The little wire camp beds, you click them in, you get like 4 little sections, and you click them all in. Got rigid material, but you can't really get anything underneath it. So you've got your bed with you plus all your gear. Whereas if you've got like a high sleeping camp bed, like one of the cot bed type ones, all your shit can go underneath it, and then it's just there's more space then. Do you know what I mean? And you're keeping all your admin sort of squared away, and that's all just slung everywhere and stuff. But it's something to bear in mind, really. If you do go to the events where you've got like hardcover and proper buildings, and camp bed, raised camp bed all the way, definitely.
Kit's jumped in. I've got a Trekology UL80 that has like no R value whatsoever, but it's really comfortable. So underneath that, I use a Multimat 3 season.
Yeah, that's a good shout, mate. Yeah, even a little foil blanket. You can get them foam-filled foil blankets that roll out. Well, very similar to like a windscreen reflector type material. But they're actually like an insulated roll.
They're Mylar, aren't they? Mylar bags?
Yeah, Mylar bag. Yeah, it comes with very thin foam infill with the Mylar material over the top of it. It's quite, and you can put that underneath yourself or on top of your roll mat. And again, it's that added layer. It's just all about the layering up from the ground to where your DOS bag starts, basically, chaps. What you can get between you and that cold ground. That's one of the main things. And obviously, in hammocks, it's the wind chill with a hammock. You sort of get away with wind chill when you're on the ground and you've got a basher over you. But when you start going up into hammocks, that's when wind chill, sort of ground frost or whatnot, comes away. But then wind chill comes into it for hammocks. So something else to bear in mind.
Hammock bum.
Yes.
Reece, you've asked a question. I'll come back to that later. James C says, I was on a budget, so got one of a camping site, no brand, but advertises 4 season. And if that's 4 season, then I need to get a new sleeping bag. Would you say a bivy bag?
Is he on about the bag that he got? I'm sorry, that question now, I don't get that, what he's saying there.
No, I think he was just saying that, it's advertised as a 4 season, but if that's a 4 season, then he needs to get a new one. Yeah.
Right. Failing that, though, mate, if you've not got a jungle bag yet, though, mate, look up a jungle bag, see what the insulation rating is. You might be able to combine the two, and that might help you out. I mean, if is it James C? So, were you actually freezing in that bag, or was it just like slightly uncomfortable being out in that, or have you not been out in them temperatures in it yet, or whatnot? It'd be interesting to hear back. If he's only just sort of like slightly, that's a bit cold. I think maybe perhaps if he added a jungle bag to it, which is again, it's adding that little layer of insulation. It might change things for him a bit. Then he's got the best of both worlds for the summer and the winter. Then
it depends what you're wearing as well. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you got into it half naked or fully clothed or what. But yeah, I mean, obviously, if you get into a big thick coat on, and that.
If you can, like pants and t-shirt. I mean, if I can, then all the way, because it just gets that body heat out and fills the bag quicker. But obviously, if there's a chance you're going to be going stag or standing to or whatever it is, then you're not going to be chucking all that crap on in the pitch dark or early hours in the morning. Do you know what I mean? So, 9 times out of 10, I'll be in a combat shirt and be combat still. Or, I might ditch the trousers, but I definitely still have my shirt on or something like that.
So you also followed that up with, would you say a bivy bag keeps you warm? But Rage and Kit have both just jumped in. So Rage said, yep, helps a bit, especially if it's got a hood.
Yeah.
And Kit said, a good bivy bag can add 5 to 10 degrees to your sleep system. Yep, completely agree with that.
Not only keeping wind chill off of you, but again, it's adding that layer of insulation between you and the ground. And again, with the bivy bag, you can chuck your roll mat, your DOS bag, all your self-inflating matches, all inside that. Doesn't matter if the bivy bag gets trash on the ground in the mud or gets damp or anything like that. As long as it's keeping you dry, it's keeping all your other gear dry. And it keeps you on top of your roll mat as well. Then there's nothing worse than putting your roll mat on the ground, all your gear on top of it, and then 2 hours later waking up about 3 foot away from it in the dirt. Because at least then if you're inside the bivy bag, and your bivy bag's got to be your little micro tent within your shelter, if you like. So you've got your main basher up, then your bivy bag, and then all your sleeping equipment should be in that bivy bag, unless it's a cheap ass, like an old school big roll mat, and obviously that'll be outside of it. But all my roll mats, insulated pads, DOS bag, obviously all inside that bivy bag, that main bivy one. That's your main outer shell between you and the basher. That's to be your primary bit of comfort there, to keep all your other gear nice and dry and hopefully warm. So I definitely reckon if you've not got a bivy bag, 100% get yourself one, because that's a proper good bit of kit. That is really good.
I made a mistake on one of my events of buying a 10 centimeter thick self-inflating roll mat, which was the nuts. It is so comfortable. You just leave it out, it inflates itself, no problem at all. The problem is that this thing does not compact down well, and was pretty much the size of my Bergen before I put anything in the Bergen. So it was pretty much, I've got a roll mat and nothing else.
I have got my one here. I mean, this one here isn't. I haven't packed it very well, but this I think is a manageable size. I mean, you can see there I haven't spread out the straps very well, but that for me is a manageable size to go on a backpack. I mean, it's filling up as we speak, but the self-inflating mattresses, they are good. And obviously, like I said, if you're in hard cover and you've got a cot bed, one of these on top of it. It is. I wouldn't say it's out of a Bergen.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd never get it in the Bergen. I mean, that would be the Bergen.
Yeah.
Just be a mattress. Just here I go. This is all my kit I brought, lads. But sitting across it, like the generic roll mat across the top of the bag, it wouldn't sit proud of the rocket pouches or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it's got a deceptive picture there. But it is a manageable size. But like I said, it is 3.5 centimeters thick, something like that. 3 centimeters, 3.5 centimeters. So it is quite a thick as roll sleeping mats go. That's a relatively thick one, I'd say. But not bad.
Let's talk pillows. So I promise you, this episode isn't sponsored by Quetcher or however you pronounce that. But I wanted to talk about this one specifically. So I bought this for about £15-ish. Please excuse my very, very pinky purple lighter. It was the only one I had to hand, but it does sort of show. This is it's not self-inflating, but it's got like little chambers within the pillow. So when you inflate it, it only takes about 2 breaths to inflate the whole thing.
Nice.
I highly recommend taking a pillow. I have tried blankets and just stuff them into a wet bag or anything like that, or just tucking something in. And it's never quite that proper comfort. Whereas this for me is just pure luxury, and it is a luxury item, but it does compact down quite small. I actually lost it for 2 MilSims because I forgot where I put it because it was so small. It was in my Bergen, just genuinely couldn't find it in there. So yeah. Again, it gives you that extra little bit of comfort, and I appreciate that it's not sort of super military and stuff like that. But
not as military
not
as my peach skin pillow. This is peach skin. Apparently, yeah, peach skin. I think I got this in Millets. I think because I spent 30 quid on. That's right. Yeah, I spent 30 odd quid on me dry sacks. And because I spent over 30 quid at the checkout, they said, "Oh, look, you'd like to choose a gift?" I was like, "Yes."
You got a free peach skin pillow.
Like a peach skin pillow, please. You got any of them? They go, "Yes, we have." Funny enough, that's handy because that's what I wanted. So
is that like one of those? You get those collars that you put around your head, like at airports and stuff when you want to sleep up. Is it that sort of like vellum material?
No, it's peach skin, Mike.
Yeah, but I don't know what peach skin feels like.
But that is essentially. I mean, it is. It's like a little scatter cushion, really, that you get around your nans. But
but it's right. Okay. Then that's interesting. So that's foam filled, is it? And that expands with the foam.
There's no valve or anything on it. You just get it out, and give it a good old fashioned wiggle, and then it gets bigger.
So see, I had one of those as well, and I swapped that out.
Didn't it?
No, that's fine. I got it. I swapped mine out for the one I'm showing on screen now, and the reason for that is that I was finding it was compressing overnight. So because it's a foam that obviously it expands with air naturally. Yeah. As soon as you put any weight on that, it starts to crush down again.
Well, I suppose in a way, but by that time, hopefully I'm in a deep enough slumber. I won't require.
No, that's fine. That's just a bit of evidence or advice or whatever from what I've found. Because I spent like 30 quid on. I bought like a proper pucker top of the range off Amazon. Like this was advertised as like the nuts for inflatable pillows or whatever like that, and it was great. It's a lovely looking pillow, but as soon as you put your head on it, you just find yourself start slowly sinking into it. Oh
yeah, well for a freebie, this has actually done me all right. And like you said, I usually do end up chucking my schmuck or something underneath my because I like quite a rigid sleeping position. Do you know what I mean? Like quite stiff. But I don't like sinking into the bed or anything like that. So that for me is sort of like ideal with what are you laughing at?
No, it's just I was just amusing myself. The two of us sound like proper Nancy's. Like, right, we're going to go to a MilSim, and I want the comfortive pillow, most comfortable pillow, and lovely sleeping bag.
I'm not taking part until I found my peach skin pillow. Where is it? Who's had it? Come on, I'm not going out on patrol yet. Where is that? That needs to come back. But yeah, there's like little comforts like that, and like you say, mate, the main thing is just be honest, get your head down in it at the end of the day. So if you can afford the room in your bag, and you're not compromising taking something that you actually do genuinely need for the space of having a little pillow in there, then it's up to you. You take what you really like.
Priorities, isn't it? Like,
exactly.
Swap out that extra layer of rainwater protection for a nice little comfortable pillow. To be fair, I can get in one of my rocket pouches. I can get a basher, large size basher, tent pegs, that pillow, couple lengths of paracord for doing the basher, and a couple bungees and stuff, and that all sits in there.
Good shout, mate. So yeah, nice.
It doesn't take up a lot of space at all.
No,
and it only weighs, I think the picture says there, it only weighs 170 grams, so it's really light as well. You know, we're not talking a sizable acquisition there, but cool. Right
in there, mate.
Yeah, well, I'll jump on there in the end. I'm just conscious of the time. If we get through all the slides, and then we can
okay. Oh, look at the time. Blimey.
Yeah, I know. We're already 45 minutes in.
Love it.
Let's talk about woobies, or jungle blankets, or blankets generally. To be honest with you, these are just two that I've picked that I use in particular. So, top right is the Miltech. I think they're just called poncho liners.
A lot of them refer to a poncho liner, Dutch Army, US ones, and that.
So these aren't. I don't think, to be fair, I don't think these are proper woobies per se. I think they're sort of styled on a woobie, and they are effectively just a blanket. So where it's called a poncho liner, please bear in mind it doesn't have a hole in the top of it or in the middle of it that you can then put it on like a poncho. You can get adaptations for them. I've seen a couple of YouTube videos online where somebody's actually had them adapted so that you can actually wear them as a proper poncho liner. But this is effectively a blanket. And bottom right, it was a bit of camping I did last year when we could. It's actually my brother's fiance sitting there. She, funnily enough, she actually designed our logo as well, our new Fox logo.
Oh, yes, of course, yeah.
Yes. She doesn't know I put that picture up, and I don't know if she's going to watch the episode. So sorry if you don't like it, and great if you do. But yeah, so the woobie is basically it's just
the Fox logo over a face there.
The woobie's basically it's almost just like a sleeping bag again. So it's just a couple layers of sort of nylon material, whatever, with a bit of sort of downy sort of fibre in the middle, and it's sort of cross stitched to kind of keep it all in place. But they're really great. You know, I highly recommend somebody getting a blanket.
You've got your hammock, Mike. You've bought an under blanket, haven't you? An under wrap for it. See, I was wondering, because I've got a woobie blanket, and I was wondering if that could be used as a.
It can. Yeah.
I was thinking, I haven't tried it, and I was sort of weighing up the measurements, and if I tied it off of that end and tied it off of that end, and then let it sag in the middle, once I'm in it, it's not going to pull tight and potentially break it or anything like that. And I thought, well, that's going to add a layer of insulation or keep the wind chill off you at least, anyhow. So I may well give that a go.
Because I've tried that already. The only thing I would say is it doesn't give you quite the same shape as a proper fitted hammock blanket under quilt.
You're going for the looks as opposed to the functionality.
Not the looks, but in terms of you obviously want the underquilt to be fairly snug against you. Whereas I was finding when I used the woobie or poncho line or whatever, I found I had a few little sort of pockets where you could easily just sort of like lose a bit of heat out of.
Right, okay.
So it does work. It does work. I mean, I've seen a few reviews on these because they've got the little draw cords on the corners and sides. You can actually use it as a makeshift sleeping bag if you need to as well. You can just tie it up into an envelope shape, or you can get in that.
Yep.
You can just roll up in it. You can hide under it. You can lay on it. You know, there's all sorts of things you can do with them. I've got a couple that I've used for picnics as well, just with the missus just gone out.
I mean, I've got one I use for fishing all the time. When I go carp fishing and that, I'll have that as almost like that. Almost acts as like my bivvy bag when I'm inside my fishing tent, if you like, or under the brolly. I'll have that with my sleeping bag inside it, and it's all sort of like secured to my fishing bed. I've got a dirty, great big fishing bed, like luxurious bed, because all fishermen need that. So I take that with me. I wish I could take it to MilSims, but it's just a ball ache.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. I mean, this is another luxury item, really, because I mean, you know, you don't need to have one of these, but I find that if you get a bit cold, or you know, the Longmore event where it's constantly raining,
it's part of your sleep system at the end of the day, isn't it?
But this is the thing: you don't have to use it just as a sleep system. I've sometimes chucked one of these into my day sack, and then again, if we're just going out, we're going to go and hold a position for a while. You know, the camouflage one, whilst it's not the equivalent of like a ghillie suit or a poncho or anything like that, you can just throw it over you. So if you're sitting there, you're not going to be getting cold unnecessarily.
And again, it's like you say, it's dual purpose, and it was multiple purposes you can use that for. So it makes it, in your eyes, it's obviously an essential bit of kit. I mean, I don't use one for my sleep system, but certainly for the way you've explained it there, it's like, well, not only that, can you use to add insulation to what you sleep, your ground sleeping arrangement, or in your hammock, but you can chuck it in a day sack, take it on patrol. If you are static for a couple of hours and you have got that luxury of getting an hour's kit, then you're wicked, I've got the woobie on me. Chuck it around you, get warm, get a couple of you underneath it or whatever. You know what I mean? It's cool. It's a bit of a morale booster.
Yeah, particularly if you get a couple of you underneath it.
Exactly.
With the
look out, lads! Mike's got his woobie out again.
With the one on the left, so there's actually two products here. So you've got the poncho liner on the right, and that's the picture below, with Josie in it. The jungle blanket by Snugpack shown in the middle. So it looks almost exactly the same as a sleeping bag, and that's what's shown on the left. So it's actually slightly bigger. It's about the same price, interestingly. You're probably talking about maybe 30 quid for it. But that's also got some advantages as well. So whereas the poncho liner is effectively just like a season 2 sleeping bag, the jungle blanket's got like a it's got some sort of like fabric on it that sort of stops mold and mildew and things like that. Yeah. It's slightly water repellent, whereas the poncho liner isn't. It's maybe not quite as comfortable. I find that I use the poncho liners. I mean, I've got a couple poncho liners on my sofa that I use just to cuddle up in the evening if I need to, if it gets a bit cold. The jungle blanket, I probably wouldn't do the same because it's a little bit stiffer. It's not quite as comfortable, but it is a little bit bigger and it's lighter, and it definitely goes smaller than the poncho liners. So there's kind of advantages and disadvantages for both of them. But yeah, highly recommend those products. I've got both of them. I've got multiple of both of them, and yeah, they're good.
Fair play, mate. Nice.
Yeah. That's the end of our slides and our pictures and stuff that we're going to talk about. I'll just hit a few of the questions.
Yeah, definitely.
Reese asks, what's the best sleeping bag for £20?
If I'm honest, mate, I wouldn't know, buddy. I mean, if you've got a budget of 20 quid, then I'd look, if you can, possibly on a online sales auction site and see if you can pick up something ex-surplus. Or perhaps have a look at there's a website or a company called militarymart.co.uk or Prepper Shop or Preppers UK. Have a look on there, and they do sometimes have some flash sales on survival kit and sleep kit. Certainly, Military Mart have got quite a large stock of bits and bobs, and you can. I think you might be wrong. You'll have to look it up, but Dutch Army sleeping bags as well. Or you can get the French ones, and they are just as good, I believe. I've not used one myself, but I haven't heard anyone say that they're crap or rubbish. So, again, for 20 quid, mate, if you can push an extra 10 or 10 to 15 pound on top of that, then you're laughing. You'll be able to get an ex-British Army Arctic bag or medium weight sleeping bag, and you'll be laughing all day long. So if you've got 20 quid at the minute, just plugging away, put a little bit more money aside each week or something, get that 35, 40 quid mark, and then, get your proper DOS bag sorted out, and then going on from that, an ex-surplus bivvy bag. You probably look at it sort of between 20, 25 quid again for a good bivvy bag that's like a grade 1 or super grade that's got no holes, or it might have a repair to it, but it's been done properly, like tailored in camp or something like that. But certainly a good sleeping bag and a bivvy bag, you're probably looking realistically about sort of 60, 65 quid for the two. So you're sort of half and half there, mate. But yeah, I don't know what you'd get for 20 quid. I'd like to think you'd be able to pick a deal up somewhere by looking at Military Mart or Preppers UK for a sleeping bag, perhaps.
On Preppers Shop right now, they've got this Dutch military modular sleeping bag, cold weather, for £25.
There we go.
That's something like that. So,
but I don't know how big that comes. Like if it's going to be a big green bouncing bomb or whether it's going to be able to compact it. I'm guessing there's a Dutch Army cold weather one. It's going to be quite a size. But I haven't got any experience with any of them, so I wouldn't be able to comment. But yeah, I'm certainly looking at sort of 60, 65 quid ballpark figure for a decent quality surplus DOS bag as well as a bivvy bag as well. Again, eBay or the two sites I just looked at, mate, probably your best bet for your price range.
Reese also asked earlier, slightly off piece. What do you think of compact UK patrol boots? So while we've been talking, I've been looking them up, and they seem okay. We're probably talking about.
I've not used them before, so I've
used them myself. But I mean, they seem to be sort of like a proper leather boot. They're about 40 quid. In terms of boots, I mean, I firstly suggest go back and have a check of our boots episode. I think there's one called Feet a little while ago that we did. It's like one of the.
Took us ages to think of that.
Yeah, great title there.
plugging away for hours. Boot.
But yeah, I mean, with boots and stuff, I mean, I generally tend to use sort of second hands if I can get them, just because you can. There's a shop in Maidstone. I don't know where you are. I'm not going to start trying to creepily find out where you live. But in Maidstone, there's a shop called Semaphore. They do Hague boots. That I've got a couple pairs of. I think I paid about £25 a pair. I mean, they're second hand, but they're fairly sort of decent quality. So just give them a bit of a spritz with some Detox or whatever, and your job's done. But yeah, Ragefile just said best cheap boots are high tech by a long way. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I remember High Tech Magnums. I had a pair of one of them once upon a time. Very, very good, comfortable boot. But yeah, like Mike said with the boots, I've got all Berg Defenders all day long. Just again, ex-British surplus, British Army surplus boot, 35, 40 quid for a decent pair on eBay. You're getting like £130 worth of boot for 40 quid that's been worn for 6 months potentially. That's got plenty of life left in it. So all Berg Defenders. I mean, I'm quite lucky. I've got a pair of Aku Pilgrim, the MOD GTX boots, which I use in the summer and sort of spring months, and they're like trainers. They're wicked. But like for my dog walking or my bushcrafting, all Berg Defenders all day long. Again, eBay. I don't know if you can get them on Military Mart or Preppers UK. Perhaps you can, but yeah, I highly recommend all Berg Defenders. I've used them since starting Airsoft 6, 7 years ago. So yeah, all good.
James C. So just going back, so a bit behind on the video, had multiple layers on and a jacket and was chattering. No clue. Yeah, no clue regarding temperature. Middle of the Welsh mountains and had next to no sleep. Had a thin roll mat with some reflective material on one side. Going to have an overall in terms of kit. Bivy bag and softy suit are on my to buy list. Also, balaclava is on my to buy list as well. Had a Snudden hat, but ballasts are great. I mean, with sleeping bags, one thing we haven't mentioned, and I think we did on our, I can't remember if we did or not on our Christmas episodes. You can get the little hand warmers sachets. I can't remember the name of the company now. Basically, they contain like a magnesium oxide or something like that. When you're exposed to oxygen, they heat up. And some of those can last sort of 8, 10, 12 hours.
And I tell you, some of them get blasted hot as well, like proper hot. Like you can squeeze it, and after 2 or 3 seconds, you've got to go like shit. It's like a tea bag hot.
I mean, they're quite good if you want to sort of actually add a heating element to your sleeping bag. I mean, I would be careful because from experience, you can burn yourself in some rather delicate places if you leave these things in sort of the wrong place for too long. But they are good. I mean, I've you can bulk buy them on sort of eBay, Amazon.
You can get them as well. You can get the same thing again, but the toe warmers as well, which just sit underneath your toe, adhesive back to it under your sock, in your boot, chat, and literally, obviously, they are gorgeous, cracking bit of kit. They are, especially for the end of in the DOS bag. As soon as them tootsies go down to that far end, away from all the heat, and they're like, "No, don't leave us down here in the dark." Just whack one of them toe warmers down there. It's just like, oh, that's magic. But I think I'm trying to think which bag it is. I think it's in my British medium weight bag. Inside there's some internal mesh pockets. So you can always chuck a couple of hand. Yeah, I'm sure there is. They're Velcro ones. They've got a little red tab on them, little Velcro pockets, and you can chuck a couple of hand warmers in each of them. And then obviously,
sort of, it keeps them in one place. Then
10, 15. As well is for if you are trying to get your head down in cold weather. I mean, I've tried. I always do it. Is either try and get a hot brew down you, either it be a coffee or a tea or a hot chocolate or something hot. Or failing that, if you can, great, is a hot meal before you get, as soon as you finish that, you've finished your hot drink, that's going to make your sleep so much better. That's one crucial bit of advice. If you can, I mean, obviously it's a bit of a ball ache. If you can't, you can't, but, it will help. If you can get at least a hot drink down you before you get in your DOS bag, that'll help wonders for keeping you warm in there, because it's got to be your internal temperature, and that's going to be up from a nice hot meal or a hot drink in you already. So, you're halfway there.
Ben Lewis has sent us an essay. Hang on. I've slept in all sorts of climates and conditions, from -18 in the Falklands during the winter to 30 degrees in Afghanistan. Being in an armoured battalion, the best thing was the troop shelters that we had attached to the side of the vehicle, which would sleep 6 to 7 guys comfortably, properly roasting in one of those bad boys during cooler periods of the year. But unless one of you lads owns a Warrior, we are shit out of luck. But on MilSims, I use the Andes sleeping bag, which I got off eBay. Yeah, it's not a bad shout.
Fair play, mate. Yeah, I've seen them shelters. They're like the angular command tent type things. It's all like the proper British Army canvas ones, aren't they? Which you just bolt to the well, not bolt, but tie off to the side of the Warrior or an APC, and they're just like, yeah, they're smart. Then.
Ben says about the Warrior, I am genuinely wanting to buy a Daimler Ferret because I just really want to have a tank. I just want to have a tank. Just Lance and me just cruising into battle in our tank for no reason, you know. Can only go. I mean, with APOC down in Sittingbourne, you know, you're not going to get very far with all the trees and stuff. But you know, I just think it'd be really cool.
I don't know if
it's not even a tank. It's like a little car, basically.
Yeah, but I just don't know if Daimler strikes the same amount of fear as Mastiff or a Warrior.
Yeah, no, I know, but you know, we're talking variations.
Asking their Daimler.
We're going to look like hello with whatever his name's little tank.
I'd like to have a lace umbrella.
Yeah, that's fine, mate. When I buy my tank, when I buy my little armoured tank car, whatever, you won't be allowed in it because.
Just swearing at me to drive past. Sod off with your brolly.
Gaz asks, are there any sleeping bags to fit us chunky call signs? Well, Gaz, I can recommend the Snug Pack Season 4.
Extreme fits me all right. And the British Army medium weight and the British Army Arctic bag. I seem to slither into them quite nicely.
I know what you mean, though, because there is nothing worse than when you do get. I mean, I've had a smaller sleeping bag in the past. I'm not the smallest person in the world, and you get in that, and it's like, oh, okay, I can't even do it up. You know, it's like
you're just laying there under tension.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely.
Gaz also says, I still have my ECW Dew liner, also known as my Teletubby suit. I've slept in that -25, -30 in Germany and couldn't stop sweating. Yeah, I've been looking at getting one of these. I mean, that's a bit similar to the Softie, I believe, isn't it? In terms of it's like a suit that you get into rather than like
I've got a crewman's top deck suit, which was kindly given to me by my a very good friend of mine who demobbed from the Marines. Which I'm guessing is obviously it's a navy type suit, but it's a DPM Woodland DPM one. Zip up the front, built in belt with a nice Nexus buckle on the front of it, and that thing it's like sleep. It's like walking about in a Arctic sleeping bag, Gore-Tex. It's a pucker bit of kit, and it's called a top deck crew suit or crewman suit. I'll look it up and I'll pop a link on the thing. But for fishing, if you guys do fishing or any outdoorsy sort of stuff where you're milling about sort of static for a little while, and you can get hold of one of these, they're a pucker bit of kit. It's called a top.
It's an all-in-one top deck, and Gaz is going to send us a picture.
Yeah,
so Gaz, if you put up the Facebook page, and then anyone wants to have a look at that, that'd be cool.
Perfect. Nice one.
I'm going to jump way back to the beginning when Rage asked a question. So, Lance, was that webbing pouch with the ammo pouches that Mission Tailors put on their Instagram recently for you?
I don't know if it's no, great. It's not for me. Sadly, as cool as it looks, I've got something else on the way from Mission Tailor, so you're gonna have to wait. Be patient, my friend. Be patient. All will be revealed.
I've actually got some stuff. I'm going to start messaging them over the weekend because now we've been paid since the payday desert that's happened over Christmas.
I think
all my stuff
there with Mission Tailors at the moment. So he's going to be a busy boy in his little workshop, beavering away at making things for us for reprobates. So I'm looking forward to it.
Stuff though is just remakes of stuff that I theoretically already own, but I just want it in a different colour. I'm not very original with any of the things I want to ask him to make for me.
I'm sure you've customized it somewhere along the line. I can't see you just getting an exact copy of something.
Get a big M stitched on the side of it for no reason.
Molly Mike.
I have a Molly in an M shape. That'd be grand, wouldn't it?
Yeah, quality. Yeah, it's got to be done.
Gaz asks, Lance, don't you have a new radio pouch? We're going to have to start having a meme of this. I'll tell you, I'm going to have to start banning this on the Instagram. Rage on every post for like a solid week was just constantly going on about it.
I've got to be very careful here because I've got my sidearm in my plate carrier. But, well, that one there. That bloody radio pouch is the bane of my life now. I've got Rager file every other day. You got a new pouch? You got a new pouch?
I'll just say, I'm going to take a second of silence here because if anyone out there manages to find Lance on an Airsoft site, please get your photo with him. But don't take a photo with Lance. Take a photo with the pouch.
Yeah, just like knelt down like that. Yeah, that's going to be odd. Can I have a photograph taken with your pouch?
I'll tell you what, first person, hands down, I'll do this. First person who can take a photo with Lance's pouch and send it to me on Instagram, whatever like that, I will give you a patch. You know, just go over it. So there you go.
I thought you were going to say I'll give them a radio pouch that Lance has got.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Whoa, Mike, calm down.
Marcus just said, "Can I have a picture of you in the pouch?"
Of course you can. Any day, mate.
Ray says that pouch, you should give it to me. Yeah, hands down. You know, I'll put my hand up to it. If you can get the picture, I'll give you a patch.
Pouch. That pouch was it or patch?
Patch.
Oh,
definitely.
patch.
Ben Lewis Sanders. The Taliban hated the warrior with a passion. 7.62 chain gun with a 30mm Raiden cannon. I don't even know what that is. And a HE
cannon. That's where the term "give it some pedal," because the cannon was fired via pedal from the floor, I believe, in the old Raiden ones, I think.
HE.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Ben. You're the man. You know.
6 hardcore dismounts with GPMG, LMG, LSW, SA80s ready to F stuff up. Good old days. Sorry for the paragraphs. Don't worry, Ben. Loving the paragraphs.
No, not at all, mate. Love it. You carry on, bud, all day long. GPMG, LMG, LSW, SA80s. Wicked.
Is that anyone listening to the podcast is just going to be listening to me going, the Taliban hated the warrior with a pan.
I know.
Gaz says the pouch needs its own Insta profile.
No, don't start that. If anybody starts an Insta page out with my bloody radio pouch, I'll tell you honestly, I'll be very grateful. Saves me a job.
On the subject of patches, not pouches, patches, yes. We are still working on those. I'm hoping to have a chat with our sort of picked supplier this weekend. So hopefully we should have some stuff coming out of that. Well, what we'll do is I'm going to order some samples and then get some photos of those so you actually know what you're buying. I don't want you just throw money at me and tell me that you're going to have them all, because I want you to actually see what you're buying before you get them. So we'll get some samples made up and send those over. And then, hopefully we can get those out to you quick and pronto. So
absolutely, yeah. I'd like some of them myself.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know if this is going to work, but it might get people excited. So in the same vein as Blue Peter. I got excited by it. In the same vein as Blue Peter. In the same vein as Blue Peter, we're looking to try and get a silver patch properly made up. So if you come on the show, I'm hoping that we can have some silver patches that we can give out to guests. So if you make it to being a show, on the actual episode itself, you might get yourself a silver patch. Yeah. Well, I was also looking because
the upper echelons of NoFo with the elite.
They were doing. You can actually get like this proper silver paint. So I was going to see if I could like properly make them properly mirrored, if I can. So yeah. Anyway,
just send them to me. I've got some galvanizing spray I'll use at work, and I'll just give them a. There
we go.
Don't touch it. It's a bit damp still.
No, you don't get a discount with.
A silver patch. No,
you don't get a discount.
You might get a discount if you get a picture of with my radio pouch next to you. We'll have to see.
I'll tell you what, I might genuinely, actually, to be fair, I could probably do this quite easily. If you order all 4 of the patches that we're thinking about bringing out, I might throw in a blue ribbon.
And a signed picture of my radio pouch.
I know Blue Peter had gold, but we're not Blue Peter.
Yeah, sod off, Sean. Bedtime. Come on.
Right, last couple of questions. Rage File. What's the blues guitar riff in your introduction that sounds familiar? Yeah, so I don't know. It's definitely not
anything you've ever heard before.
No, it's Grand Tour. It sounds very similar to the Grand Tour, but it's not the Grand Tour's music. I'll find out. I can let you know. But that's our new little intro music for now. So hope you like.
All above board, not copyrighted from anywhere. Just like to add that.
No. To be fair, we actually have the license to use it. So yeah.
Hope everyone enjoys it. Can we play it on the way out as well? Because I like it.
Yeah, we can play it on the way out. I do quite like the music. Ben Lewis Sanders. Yeah, that's correct, Lance. A foot pedal on the turret floor to send the rounds downrange. Nice.
Yeah, give it some pedal.
Terry says, I love the 30mm. Is it Raiden, did you say?
Raden, isn't it? Raden.
Sorry, I don't know.
I think it's Raden.
rather than on the scimitar and the fox. So nice.
Wicked.
Right, gents, thank you very much for joining us this week. Join us next week. We're going to be talking about hygiene. So that's all things to do with poo, pee, keeping yourself clean. Horse washes and stuff like that. So
what washes? Horse washes.
It's called a horse wash, isn't it? Where you get like the wet wipes and just keep your bits clean.
Fuck, that's a new one on me.
I'm pretty certain.
Where have you been?
Sorry.
Right,
until next week, gents. Thanks for joining us, and we shall see you then. I'm going to leave you with our intro music again because it is pretty cool. See you later.
Laters.